Hello. So if you can hear me, guys, just type in letter A, just so I can know that you can hear me. You can hear me. Just type in letter A. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. So good evening, guys, and it's a pleasure to be speaking to you guys this evening. So basically, like we mentioned, we're going to be talking about what the program entails and what your expectations should be, and basically, I mean, the end result, which is the most important thing to us. So, my name is Noah Latoye. So, the emails you've been seeing is being signatured by myself. So, basically, you get to see more members of the team, but at this point, I'll just be the one talking to you guys. So, I'm actually delighted to run this program because this is actually the first of its kind. And the aim of this program really is to bridge the gap between our educational system where you get to go to school and when you're done, you're not even guaranteed of jobs. So basically, what we're trying to do is to put the jobs in your hands even before you graduate. And that's going to bring so many opportunities. So basically, I'm just going to be walking through what the program entails, things you're going to be doing, the durations. Then I'll also be reading comments from you guys if there's anything that you have, any curiosity you have, so you can always ask. So basically, we're going to be looking at tech diversity in Nigeria. And before we even talk about tech diversity in Nigeria, I know that you guys would like to know the company or the organization bringing this to you. So, tech diversity is being presented to you by InstinctHub. So, InstinctHub is a learning, technology learning system or learning platform where we teach coding and design skills. So, we also still teach digital marketing, but as a pilot test to this program, we are actually rolling out just front end technology skills for now. So subsequent years, we're going to see how we can integrate more uh, discipline into it. But as we speak right now, we're just going to be doing front end. Front end basically, if you're hearing it for the first time, front end technology is the ability to do everything that users can interact with on either on the browser or on the phone. So take for instance, when you go to a website, the first thing you see maybe the landing page. Then if you want to communicate with the business owner, you go to the contact page. If you want to read more about the business, you go to the is it about us page? Yes. Now all of those things that you can see are the work of front end engineers. So the front end get to do things that users can see. So the name is generated from the fact that there are things that we can see. So in the technology world, we have almost two sets of programmers. We have people who are front end engineers and we have people who are back end engineers. So the front end are people who do things that we can see on the web, while the back end are people who do things you can see, but you can actually experience it. A backend functionality, for instance, will be when you go to a website and you want to log in with your login details. The first thing you will do is to put in your email and you put in your password. And what you get to check is You wait for the login to take place. Now, what is going on is that you're asking the website to check if the login details you're putting inside is the same as that of the one stored on the database. Now, people who are responsible for this query are the people who do backend. So they handle those logic that you don't get to see it, but you get to feel it. And the reason why we call them backend. So imagine you go to every website, or you go to any website, and you can just log in. Everybody can log in. Or imagine everybody can log in your Twitter account or your Facebook account. It's going to be a big deal. So the work of backend developers or backend engineer is to actually see how they can protect our applications and make it run smoothly without anybody being able to hack. So let's just go forward. Since now you have an idea of what the front end. So if you hear front end or back end developer, you have like a clear idea as to their functionality. But let us take a look at what our goals are at InstinctHub. So our goal actually is to build an ecosystem where technology skills are accessible and teachable, and not just that, also linkable to every Nigerian. So the reason why you're a beneficiary of this program is because we know that one way that we can become stronger is when everybody have an ability to express themselves technologically. So that's what we stand for. So our core value really is to create a personalized education and create a renewed sense of purpose. So our goal is to make everybody purposeful, give you a voice. And lastly, one of our core value is to help others achieve success. So one of the things you're going to be learning as well is how to actually help others achieve success. So this is not like your school system where you'll be fighting to, not fighting really, where you get to work very hard to get distinction or top your class. No, that's not the spirit here. The spirit majorly is by lifting each other's hands and helping everybody to succeed, because the industry is so big, it's so huge, that one person cannot actually make that tree, one person can make that huge impact. So as an individual, we need to have at the back of our mind that what we need to do, we need to have the spirit of sportsmanship. I think that's the word. We need to have a spirit of sportsmanship and be able to lift each other's hands. Because one thing with the coding skill, I won't try to hype it, is very challenging. Like sometimes it's going to be very challenging, but our ability to hold each other's hands, our ability to help ask questions will be the thing that will actually push us further. So at any point, don't feel shy to ask questions. Every question makes sense when it comes to technology. For real, like every question makes sense. Don't let anybody make you feel like awkward or make you feel uncomfortable. Ask your question, because your aim at the end is to get the answer, right? So feel free to ask your questions at every point in time. So that's just by the way. Now moving forward, we need to understand one thing, and if there's anything I want you to take out of this conversation, is that this program is actually designed to help you achieve success. The program is designed to help you achieve success. So if you go through this program and at the end, if you can't make sense out of it, I'm not trying to hype this program, but what I'm trying to say is that how you take this program, like the priority that this program means to you, determine the sense you make out of it. And let me tell you guys one thing. If you're able to get this software skill, I can guarantee you that every aspect of your life will change. Like when I mean every aspect of your life, I'm talking to you from the practical point of view. Because why? You see things differently. You see things in ways that others can't see, right? And one thing that will be off your mind is the mindset as to, when I'm done from school, where am I going to begin? Because why? After this program, you should be able to begin something. The program is meant to get to a starting point, right? So those are things I want you guys to have at the back of your mind. If you've ever wondered how your life is going to be when you're done with school, this program is going to make you change your perspective. So instead of thinking how will it be when you're done, you're already experiencing the life. Because with tech skill, you can work anywhere. You can be in school and be cashing out even outside Nigeria. So it all depends on the commitment and your passion, right? So if you're not passionate, actually, that's one thing to pick. If you're not passionate with the program, you're likely not to know it. Because why? um, Coding skill is very tricky. It's tricky, but it's fun. It's fun when most times when you try to do something and maybe at some point it wasn't working, and all of a sudden it works. The feeling is like you've moved mountain. So and there's no excitement as such, right? So I want you guys to be excited with the program. You're not forced to do the program at any point, but we will encourage you to take it very serious because I can tell you that. Okay, so let me just make you guys understand the practical data that is out there. In Nigeria as at today, Nigerian, like every year, we have like almost 500,000 graduates every year from Nigerian university, both those in diaspora and those at home. Now everybody come back to do their NYSC. You can imagine that number, 500,000. And guess what? Do you know the rate of unemployment right now? The unemployment is like, is it like, I think almost like 13%. Huge number of people are actually unemployed. These numbers are not new to you guys. Okay, but imagine what it is if you are sure of what you're meant to be doing before you're done. What that means is that you're not going to be adding up to that number. So imagine if Nigeria is crying unemployment today, and every year we are having nothing less than 500,000 graduating students. So the question is, which job are you actually coming for, right? So and this is the gap that we saw, and we said to ourselves, like, if we can help you guys to get job even before you're done, the issue of you not having a job or you not having experience will be out of it, right? So those are things that we're looking at. So if you're looking at this, I want you guys to look at it from that perspective. So if it will cost you sleepless nights to get some things done, please do it. Because it's better you do your sleepless nights right now in a more purposeful way than for you to be done with school and you keep carrying your envelope, your certificate from one office to another. That's by the way. So let's just move on. Okay, so this program is categorized into 6 modules or 6 pillars. So we're going to be starting full time in July. So every month you're going to be having a task. In fact, it's going to be like every week, but we try to compound every of the learning curve into a month. Now, say in July, we're going to be looking at introduction to HTML. Now, introduction to HTML basically, for those who had this idea before, HTML is called hypertext markup language. Now, for every website you see, they run on HTML. For every website you see, it's full of HTML. Now, what HTML does is you can think of HTML as your Word document. Word documents allow you to format your text before even printing them out. So HTML allow you to do that on the page as well, because the web browser wants to understand which is your title, which is your paragraph, which is your quote, all of those things. So you use HTML to tell your browser how to handle all of those text. So you can tell your browser that, oh, I want this to be on the footer, just like the way you would have your either extract or citation at the bottom of your document. Stuffs like that are things that you can do with your HTML. So we are going to be looking at that in July, which is like few days to this moment. Another thing we are going to look at in July is what we call version control. Now, version control is a way to manage the update of your code. So when you're writing codes, I know that in your Word document, let's say for instance you're writing a project in school and you have several versions of your project. Maybe the first time you start, you title it with, let's say, um, what name will I call it? The first time you start your project, you call it draft one, right? And at some point, when you begin to have updates and you don't want to delete some of the things in your project, you can call it, you can duplicate it and save the second one, maybe version 2, draft version 2. And by the time you work a bit again, you can still duplicate that one and call it version 3. So what you're doing version control, but um, in a redundant way, because you're doing those things yourself. So you have to be saving them in your folder. That's version control actually. But in programming, for the fact that we can't be saving files like that in our document, we use some version control system that allows us to do that same thing that I just explained to you right now in your document. And these are very funful things really. And if there's anything I want you guys to understand is, with myself and my team on board, coding skill is going to be like very seamless. Even if you look from the way I am explaining to you right now, I'm using all the terms that you can relate with. So that's one thing I can promise you, that we're going to try as much as possible to make it as something as if you've learned it before. And that's what we'll be looking at. So moving to August, when you're done with version control, HTML in July, we're going to move to introduction to CSS in August. Now, what is CSS? CSS is called cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets is more like, let's call it makeup. For our ladies, you get to know that you get to know the effect of makeups very well. So even when you're done, like having your shower, something like that, you will still need to put up some makeup, whether very heavy or very light, but you use the makeup to kind of like make yourself look nicer, right? So after you finish making up, telling the browser which is your header, which is your title, which is your footer, you need a way to still style it. You need a way to make the web look beautiful. You need a way to display one content left and right. You need a way to make one appear like to take the full width, stuff like that, right? Those are things that we do with CSS. So if you're thinking about cascading style sheet, which is CSS, you can think about it as the dressing elements of the web. The reason why you see website look beautiful or why you see application look beautiful is because they are styled. Without style, they look like skeleton. They don't look nice at all. In fact, they look so boring, right? So let's move forward. So we will do CSS in August. And once we do CSS in August, we're going to move to September. For every of this month, there's going to be a project actually. So you don't just learn. It's going to be a very funful project that once you do, like I can tell you that you'll be proud of it. You'll be really, really proud of it once you can achieve all of these milestones. In September, we are going to be building a web page, or we are going to be building web pages. In September, you'll be exposed to what it means to have multiple pages. Take for instance, if you have Jumia website as we have it today, they have several web pages. You have the product page. When you go to the landing page, you're going to see the product page. You can navigate, search for pages that you like. Then at some point, if you like any products, maybe you like some shoes, you just click on some shoes. And okay, so somebody asked, how do we run it HTML? Please, you can be dropping your question. I'm almost done, so we're going to come back to questions very, very shortly. So drop your question. I'm going to come back to this question in a very short while. Now, like the Jumia website I was using as an example, what you have on the Jumia site, if you like a product, you click on the product. When you click on the product, you're going to see more detail about the item. When you like the item, you add to your cart. When you're done adding so many things to your cart, you're going to check out, and you still see the process, several pages that will allow you check out, make payments. These are pages. They are just pages. You can consider those pages as the way you have your Word document. You have page 1, you have page 2. If you know how to use Microsoft very well, and you use your table of content at the top, if you click on any of the buttons, it's going to take you to the exact page. So that's what you're basically doing on the website, which makes a lot of sense. So let's move further. We're going to build out several pages in September. In October, we are going to look at introduction to JavaScript. I know that, so we've spoken about introduction to HTML, we've spoken about introduction to CSS, we now spoke about rebuilding web pages. In October, we are going to be building or working on introduction to JavaScript. Remember, what I said to you at the beginning of this conversation is that HTML allow you to tell the browser how to undo every of your tests on your web page, which is the header, which is the footer, which is the paragraph. On the other hand, I told you that CSS is used to style those things. Oh, I want the text to be white, I want the text to be blue, however color. JavaScript, on the other hand, is the verb of the website. We use JavaScript to add functionality. We use it to add actions. So take for instance now, you go to a website, you've not even scrolled anywhere. You just saw a pop-up banner telling you that, oh, they are selling something new, right? Maybe you still scroll down a bit, you still saw another pop-up banner that says subscribe to our newsletter. These are actions, right? These are like steps taking place. Those are things we use JavaScript to do. Now, for every website that you visit, one other thing that you will see is when you're viewing on mobile, you see a very small button at the top, which we call hamburger menu. That small very button at the top, when you tap it, you will see the drop down of all the menus that are on the page. That was done that way because on smaller screen, you need a very neat way to be able to handle your content. Imagine you choke all those things together on the bar. It's going to look compressed, right? Now you use JavaScript to hide the content, then you use JavaScript to listen to the event that whenever any user come to my website and tap that button, something should pop up, right? These are actions. So JavaScript is used to add actions to our web page. Now, in October, we know that we're already moving to the end of the year, and what we have left is November. Now, in November is where we are going to build our final project. So you can imagine all of the things you've been through from the beginning of this to the end. What you're going to be building finally is called your final project, which is a portfolio website. Now, you can imagine when people search for you. Take for instance, maybe after this session, you can go search for me. If you search for Noah or Latoye on Google, you're going to not just see my Instagram handle or LinkedIn, you're going to see a personal website for myself. Personal website I built, I think maybe like 4 years ago. It's been a while anyways, but you see a personal website of myself where I put things the way I like them, right? So you can imagine on social media platform, you are restricted to populate your information the way the platform wants you to put it. In fact, the disadvantage with that is if you mess up one day, your account can be closed and you will lose it almost forever. An example would be the Twitter that was banned in Nigeria. Those who really rely on Twitter alone might not have things to be doing right now. But if you have your personal website, nobody can take it away from you, except if you offend the federal government and they target you personally, which is very, very rare anyways. But the bottom line is that at the end of this project, you're going to be having a personal portfolio for yourself. If you also want to go a bit further, you can buy a customized domain for yourself. So it can be Ezekiel um, ezekielarijesuyo.com, or whatever name you want, customize, so that even when you're looking for a job, and you know, and I think one example I want to paint to you guys is that there's different. So I've reviewed several job applicants, most especially people who just finished university, and what you get to see is, oh, I was community this when I was this on the CV. So many sweet sweet write up. Employers don't want to see that. Like, it's boring, really, because almost everybody have that on their CV. But imagine you have a personal website that when you are sending your CV, what goes even before the CV is that your person, just one link that shows everything that you have. I mean, whoever is looking at it, wow, like it's going to wow everybody, right? So that's the level which we want to put you guys, and we just hope that you guys will take this very very serious, and of course it's going to be a very interesting session. So I've walked you through what July to November will look like. If you have any question, like I said, please drop it and let us have it. Now, there's something I also want to make you guys understand. This session is meant to actually last for like an hour. We just use 30 minutes, so we are still within the schedule. So there's a rewarding system for this program, and if I want to, if there's anything you want to take seriously, please take this very serious. Do you know what it means to anybody that you were employed before you left your school? Just think about it for a while. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about it. You being employed before you leave school. Now, while this makes a lot of sense, of course we cannot hire everybody at the same time. So this is going to be a bit competitive. So the way this is going to work, we call it reward and mentorship. So the best 10 students will be selected and they'll be awarded. They will have mentorship. And not just that, the best 7 will be employed. So which means the top 7 students will be employed by Sterling Bank and also InstinctHub. So you can imagine you landing a job as such before you're done. I can bet you that you won't look for a job when you're done because you're already set. And one thing with this industry is that once you start, you always see more things and you always move forward. Now you may be wondering as to what's the means of learning. How's the learning process going to be? So we are going to be having sessions like this, right, where we will talk to you personally. And another thing is you're going to be learning through our LMS. So we have a learning management system that will allow you to learn at your pace, and you'll be able to do your projects at your pace. Now, at your pace is still subjective anyways, because you have a monthly target. So you're meant to meet up those monthly targets for you to remain in this project, right? So one benefit again you're going to be getting is that you're going to be speaking with industry experts. You're going to be talking to people who are already there. You're going to be talking to employers. You're going to be interacting with, like when I mean industry experts, I'm talking about top managers from banks, from just think about every business aspect. We're going to be bringing in experts just to speak with you. So we want you to be able to make the best of this. Now, after saying all of this, right, you can imagine that there's so many efforts and resources dedicated into this project. It's not free. The guys working under the hood for the courses, the guys, the speakers that will be coming and stuff like that, is a lot of resources. And we give the credit to Sterling Bank for sponsoring this project. So it's just know that everything you're enjoying right now is being sponsored by Sterling Bank. And the only way you can say thank you to the bank is when you take this project very seriously. So the bank is passionate about students like you, and they want you guys to succeed. The reason why they are championing these projects, and I want you guys to take this very, very serious. So at this point, I'm going to be taking the questions one after the other. Um, so let's take it. Let's take the first one from Eunice. Eunice said, "Why do they all run HTML? Can't it be changed?" Interesting. So this is an interesting question. So like, why so HTML? So the question I will ask is, or how I will put it to you, is that why don't you use? Sorry, what's the substitute for Microsoft Word? Who is not? Can anybody that is not using Microsoft Word just comment and tell me the name of the tool you're using for your Word documents? So the question I will ask you is, Eunice, is why do you use Microsoft Word? You use Microsoft Word because it has almost become like it has almost become almost everything. I mean, it's something that we are used to, right? And as we speak right now, so there's an organization called W3C. It's called W3C because they are World Wide Web Consortium. So they are the people that set the standard for the web. So whatever they set is what stays. And what they've set as a standard for the web is HTML. So the reason why you're still using HTML. So the next question is it going to be a group or individual project? Well, every man for himself. It's going to be individual project. So if there's going to be any group project, we're going to let you guys know. The reason why we are making it individual is we want everybody to learn. We don't want, because we've thought through this process, if we make it a group thing, some group member will be serious, some will not be serious. So we want to be able to personally identify people that are not serious so that we can call them off the program almost immediately. So it's going to be every man for himself, but just know that it's not a difficult task at all. So the next person is still Eunice. Eunice say, are the classes going to be physical classes? No, it's not going to be physical classes. It's going to be virtual. And so we plan to actually visit you guys' school today. So this thing I'm doing right now, or talking to you virtually, was supposed to be a physical class, but for some reasons that some of you guys won't be around, we have to move our coming to school further till when you guys start the next session. So the next person says, is there any app with we might need for the program, please? Okay, so you're going to be needing what we call what's the name again? You're going to be needing tests, code editor. So it's called code editor. Code editor is applications that allow we programmers to write code efficiently and more correctly. So you're going to be introduced to that, of course, at the course of the program. So another person, Garba, said, wonderful session. Okay, please, how do we integrate all the language to get our desired work? Well, you see, so what I said, in fact, I already explained the integration. I said that HTML is used to tell the web how it should treat your text, whether it should be header or body or however. Then I said that you use CSS to style it. Now the web is very ugly without CSS. You can just, after this conversation, you can Google website without CSS. and see the results you get, it's going to be very ugly, right? JavaScript, on the other hand, is what you use to add functionality. Functionality in this sense is you want a banner to pop up when the user click. You want what do you want again? You want something to toggle, like something to hide or show when the user click. When the user scroll, you want something to slide in. All of those verbs, actions, what JavaScript allow you to do. And you can listen to user events. Say when the user click, when the user hover on something, when the user when you type in a text, something should happen, right? So those are events which we can use JavaScript to do. Now let me look for another question. I just hope that we're able to get all the questions before our time is off. So the next question is there a program other than JavaScript to add functionality to your site? Of course, plenty, like so many. So what we are introducing you to is the foundation of coding, right? So I don't want you to bother yourself as to if there are other programming languages. There are plenty, so many. In fact, there are other languages that are server-side languages. Server-side languages are languages that does the back end. So the reason why I don't want us to talk about back end, let's first understand the front end. When we understand the front, then we go to the back. All right. Okay. So another question: how do you buy a customized domain? Why is it different? What if I have a portfolio without a customized domain? You see, the reason why we have domain is that we want it easy for people to remember. So imagine if you want to visit InstinctHub's website, and I have a so normally the way this thing works is that when you want to host your site, you need to buy a virtual space, just like the way you have Google Drive, Google Cloud, iCloud, stuff like that. You need also a cloud to host your website. So for every site that you host on the cloud comes with an IP address. IP address can be 22.55.3377. Very complicated. The question is, how do you want your user to memorize those things? It's going to be really difficult. So domain allow users to memorize your easy name. Imagine right now, Eunice, if your domain name is going to be euniceforlife.com, it's easier for Garba to understand, to even memorize, oh, Eunice for life. That's easy to memorize rather than you calling number 22.55.666, stuff like that. So domain names are very important because they are easy to memorize. You can easily say google.com because it's google.com. Under the hood, Google has an IP address that it will be very difficult to memorize. So it is that IP address that is now converted to the domain, which becomes a very easy name for we human or we users to memorize. Okay, so I really want to be employed before you leave. Of course, that's possible. Just make sure that you stick to this program and you take it very seriously. So I'm seeing from Temitope, if you are employed, is it as a tech guy or according to your field of study? No, not according to your field of study. You're going to be employed according to this skill that you're getting. Because take for instance, if you're studying elect and you're currently in school, how do you offer me the elect resources right from where you are? But guess what? If I have a website that I want to build, I can send it to you, and you just code it and push it back to me, and I'm going to just review, and boom, we're done building a website. So it's going to be a code related. So it's not based on what you've studied in school. Another question here is, okay, still from Garba. Please, will the class be daily? No, it's not going to be daily. We are going to send you what needs to be done every week. Every month, you're going to have an overview of what needs to be done. So it's left for you to say, okay, I'm going to do mine on Tuesday, on Wednesday, it's left for you. But we'll always communicate with you guys. Please, okay, I think I've read that. Okay, somebody here is telling me that WPS Office can be used instead of Microsoft Word, but Word is more efficient. The question I ask is, what do you use? Like, is there someone? I know there are other tools. In fact, I use MacBook Pro. Mac allows me to use, I think, Notes. Yeah, there's Notes on the Mac, but I don't use it. I don't use it because I feel like it's just difficult somehow. But I think something that is gaining more ground right now is Google Doc. So Google Doc is actually, that's what we even use to interact, share our files, share documents with instructors. So Google Doc is actually gaining more ground. Google Doc, Google Slide, those things are actually coming very handy. But the disadvantage with them is you need internet to use them, right? But I mean, they are very cool. Okay, so Eunice, but if am I getting this question right? If a better one than HTML is built, what happens? Okay, so we are waiting for it to come. We haven't seen it yet. We are waiting for it to come, right? So another question is, my network is extremely bad. I can hardly hear anything. Will there be the recording? Of course, after this session, you're going to receive an email of this recording. So you're going to have it. So are we going to have physical classes when the next session starts? Now, as for physical classes is subjective, right? Because the program needs to keep running. We have a timeline that we need to finish all of this. But one thing is that we'll make sure that we come to the school just to see you guys, to chat with you guys, and to give you guys a feel of the fact that we're always with you guys. So another question is this live video going to be dropped after? Yes, it will. All right, so guys, this is how we're going to wrap it up on this one. I've tried as much as I can to take almost all the questions. The reason why we have the WhatsApp group is to continue the conversation. See, if I want to tell you anything right now, is that you need to put your life in your hands. Don't think because you have bad network, then you have to give up. Don't think because your laptop is not strong enough, then you have to give up. See, one thing I need to tell you guys is that all of these things have their effects, I must tell you, but the truth is you can overcome it. It's just the mindset. So whether your network is bad or your network is good, it all depends on your commitment, that price you're ready to pay, right? So if you're committed and you made up your mind, or you make up your mind that no matter what happens, I am going to finish this program, I can guarantee you that you will. And I can tell you one thing for sure, if you succeed in this program, I think you're going to thank me in future. And I think we are going to chat about it in future. So the choice is all yours, guys. So thank you for your time. It is a very good pleasure chatting with you guys. You're going to be hearing from me again via the email. Enjoy your evening and do stay safe. Bye.